how your small business can survive the recession. Are you worried about what the future holds for your business? You should be. What do you do to prevent your business from becoming another closed business statistic? In this video, I'm going to give you the exact steps that you can take to prevent your business from going out of business and actually thrive in the future. And we're starting right now. Hey, I'm JR Fisher. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, do so. Click that button down there. Don't forget to turn on all notifications. Be part of the Fisher family, the VIP group that gets notified every single time I do one of these videos. Now, I've been online since 2009. I've sold all kinds of products, including digital and physical products. We've done millions of dollars in sales. I actually own a survival food company which is thriving during coronavirus, but I'm here to talk to you about what you can do to save your business. There's some things you definitely need to do. Now, are you having problems in your business right now? If so, put those comments below. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Now let's jump into it and let's figure out what you can do to save your business. Oh yeah, and one other thing, I've got a free e-commerce course. It's a $97 value and I want to give it to you absolutely free. It's down in the description there. You just click the link and learn. No credit card required. Now, by most accounts, we're going into a recession and it's probably going to be kind of long and it's going to get a lot worse. So what can you do to prevent your business from going out of business and, more importantly, actually thriving during these times? As a business owner, you're going to be forced to make some really drastic decisions, and they're not going to be popular, but these things are going to have to be done if you're going to survive over the coming years. Now, however long you believe this recession is going to be, I would always say prepared for a long, deep recession, and that way you're not caught off guard. You need to also assume it's going to get worse, because it probably will, and even if you make that assumption and it doesn't, you'll just be more prepared. Now, the real secret to surviving a downturn economy really is cash flow, so we're going to talk about that in this video. I want to share with you some tips that you can take right now to improve your cash flow. So let's get going. Now, there's actually four main ways that you can preserve your cash flow. The first one is to reduce and slow down your cash outflows. The next one, obviously, is to increase and speed up cash flows that are incoming. The next one is to position your company for a recession. And the last one, you got to get people involved. You've got to get your team to be more productive than they've ever been before. So the first one I said, number one, reduce and slow down outflows of cash. This is where your outflows go towards your expenses. It's time to look at all your expenses right now. Now, how can we do this? The first thing we can do is we can reduce our monthly rent. If you're renting a building, if you've got a brick and mortar, if you've got an office somewhere, you need to actually negotiate a lower monthly rent. Now, in times like these, landlords understand that they're going to lose some tenants, so it's a great time for you to renegotiate your monthly rent payments. The next thing you want to do, number two, is get discounts on utilities. Now, some of us think you can't do that, but you actually can. Consider utilities like your water, power, internet, phones. You need to call the vendors of all these products and try to work out some type of deal. Many of these big utilities are willing to work with you on a payment plan or reduced amount monthly. Now, if it's something like an internet provider, something along those lines, let them know that you will be motivated to switch service providers if they can't work with you, and that will oftentimes wake them up and let them know that they're going to have to work with you. Number three, cut wasteful discretionary spending. What do I mean by that? Look at all the subscriptions you have right now, whether it's magazines, whether it's associations, any of those things that you don't necessarily have to have. You're going to want to look at those and cut those. Now, don't go overboard. Don't cut the coffee machine, expenditure for your employees. Don't cut, birthday cakes when somebody has a birthday in the office. These things are actually morale boosters, and they'll make your employees really care about you more, because all the other businesses are going to be cutting all expenses, and they're not going to be thinking about their employees and those little things that actually motivate them to want to work there. Number four, you're going to want to lease rather than buy. Now, before, you may have bought new computers for the office, but you may want to consider leasing. And I know a lot of these vendors are going to tell you, well, if you buy this copy machine or you buy this printer outright, of course you're going to save on the price, but that saving on the price, if you run out of money in 6 months, won't make much difference if you don't have a business anymore. You'll just have a bunch of equipment. Number 5, pay payables later. Now, this is not something you just want to automatically do. What you want to do is contact your vendors, your suppliers, and say, hey, we're having a problem right now. Can I get 60-day terms? Can I get 90-day terms? Can I get 120-day terms? And that will free up some cash to help you run your business. Now, you never know when having cash on hand for an extra 15 or 30 days can actually save your business. Now, the flip side of this is, if your vendors do not want to reduce their price, or they want to give you longer terms, you may offer them, if I pay up front, if I pay sooner, will you give me a discount? A lot of them are short of cash also, and if you offer to pay them right now a lump sum, you can oftentimes get a discount off what you would normally pay. And the next thing I said is to increase your cash flow that's coming in. Here's how we can do that. You can do exactly what you are trying to do with vendors. You can contact people who owe you money and let them know, if they pay you now and they pay you the full amount now instead of using the terms that you had set up, that you'll give them a 1 or 2% discount, and that will increase the cash that you have coming in so you can use it for your bills. Now, be careful on this, and you're gonna have people contacting you too, so you kind of got to play both sides of the fence, but make sure you're not offering terms right now. Just because you did it in the past, you're not a credit card company. So try to get away from the terms. Let them know that you need to be paid up front, and offering that 1 or 2% discount, if they do that, can oftentimes motivate them to want to do it. You also want to look at your receivables. I know a lot of you guys would let a vendor slide 30 or 60 days and not really say anything about it, but now's the time you need to kind of tighten up a little bit there and let them know you do need the cash and they do need to pay you when it's due. Now, there's kind of a saying here about the squeaky wheel gets oiled. You know, don't make a phone call and try to get your money in and not get a return call from that person. You'll want to call them the next day too, sometimes twice or sometimes 3 times a day. Send them emails and phone calls, because everybody's going to be contacting businesses at this point, and it's the squeaky wheel gets oiled. So if you're the one who contacts them more often, more frequently, and nice about it, but more frequently, you're going to find that you're going to collect a whole lot more money than those other companies that notify them once a month. Of course, you want to keep your existing customers. Now, how are you going to do that? You don't want to cut so much that you can't service these customers properly. If you have a better priced product in the market, remind them of that. We just went through the coronavirus thing, and we're selling cases of meat, and we haven't increased our prices in 5 years. So when somebody would contact us and say, hey, your price seems high, or can you give us a discount, I would let them know. I'd say, we haven't increased our prices in 5 years. This is actually a great price, and we could have increased the prices because of the fact that there was such a high demand, but we chose not to do so. Next thing is, you want to double down on your best customers. Those people who have been with you for a while, those people who have stuck with you, you want to give them excellent service. You want to let them know you really appreciate their business. You want to give them better service than you ever have before, because a lot of companies are going to be looking for your customers right now, and if you're not treating them right, you're going to lose them to another vendor. And you could do little things like friendly reminders, call them, email them, you know, send them birthday cards, whatever occasion is up, you know, give them cards for that, send them gift boxes. All those little things will make a big difference when you're trying to keep customers. Now, the third thing I said was position your business for the recession. You know, in a business environment that's a recession, it's very different from the years that are good years. People look at things differently, they spend differently. So let's check out how we can do that. The first thing I always like to look at is lowering inventory costs. So we're going to say inventory costs. How much of your cash is actually tied up in inventory? Do you really need 100 units of an item? Could you get by with 50? That way you don't have your cash tied up in inventory. Next thing is revamp your product line or marketing campaign. You know, during a recession, people spend a whole lot differently, and if all the products out in the market are all the same still as they were before the recession, the only thing they're going to go for is price. What extra value can you offer your customer? What can you show them that your product is better than the next person? You know, a lot of people will race to the lowest price, but that's not always the best deal if you have a better product. Look for opportunities to leapfrog the competition. What do I mean by that? There's going to be a lot of business out there that is going to be available to you. A lot of those people that were your competitors out there may not be treating their customers great. Now's a good time to really vamp up your marketing campaigns and go after those customers that your competitors have. And the last thing is team productivity. Everybody's got to step up right now. Everybody's got to work a little bit harder. Everybody's got to do a little bit more, not if they feel like it, because if they wait till they feel like it, they'll never do anything. And the point of this is, if you step up now and you work harder now, you're going to have a business. If you don't, you could actually lose that business. And the next thing I want to tell you, and I hate to say it, but cut once, cut deep, and do it sooner than later. And what I mean is, if you've got to get rid of people, go ahead and do it. Decide who you're going to get rid of, go ahead and get rid of those people. It's going to hurt them, it's going to hurt you, but if that's what you got to do to make your business survive, that's what you got to do. The first thing you got to do if you're a business owner is you got to think of your family first, then you think of your business family. Your family cannot pay anybody if you go out of business, so you're going to have to cut the people that you just don't need, and the other people are going to have to pick up the slack and do other things they weren't used to doing. Now the next thing you got to do is reduce hours before you reduce salaries. And what do I mean by that? I mean that instead of cutting somebody's pay and expecting them to do the same amount of work, if you've got hourly employees, the best thing you can do is actually cut hours instead of cutting their salaries. Because if you cut the hours instead, they look at it as, well, I get to work less, but I'm still making the same amount per hour. If you cut their hourly wage, they look at it, well, I've got to do the same work and I'm doing it for less, and they're going to resent you. Don't forget, you got to cut your own salary too. Okay, you got to watch your own expenses. If you're cutting everybody else's and still paying yourself the same amount of money, kind of unfair, and people will resent that. Next thing is, you want to get all your employees on the same page. And what I mean by that is, everybody's got to understand why you're doing what you're doing. If you just cut people, if you just cut people's salaries, if you start cutting all these expenses and nobody understands that the reason you're having to do this is so that you can actually stay in business, they will understand it a whole lot better, because the people that are left, the people that you haven't laid off, understand that all these cuts are necessary so that they have a job at all. It's not altogether bad to actually show them your expenses, to show them the difference of income that you have coming in the expenditures. And once they see that and they understand that in their heads, they'll get it that you're actually trying to save their jobs too. Now, keeping your business afloat during a recession, it's tough. Okay, it's tough decisions and it takes tough management, but you're tough, right? You can handle this, right? You're actually helping a lot of people if your business stays open, because your customers are going to be helped, your employees are going to be helped, and more importantly, you're going to be helped. So make these decisions up front and do it now. These are super important decisions to make now, so that you don't have to make the same decision 6 months down the road, and it's going to cost you even more money then. Now, have you been affected by the downturn in business? Have you been affected by what's going on in the world? Put your comments below. Put in there what you've done, what you haven't done, the issues you're running into. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. I really appreciate you watching this video. Don't forget, I've got a $97 e-commerce course that I'm giving away absolutely free. All you got to do is click the link and learn. No credit card required. Do me a favor also, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to this channel, that big subscribe button down there, and turn on all notifications right next to it. When you do that, you become part of the Fisher family, the VIP group that gets notified every time I do a video, so you don't have to go looking for it. I really appreciate you listening to this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click that little bell right there so you can be notified every time I do a new video. Also, click on one of those videos there. Keep watching on my channel.